Welcome to the Path to Mindset Mastery. My name is Brad Bizjack. I'm a mindset strategist and coach, inspirational speaker, and creator of Appreciation Academy. And I'm on a mission to help online business owners break through all the negative self-talk, holding them back from their dreams, and actually see the success they deserve. And as we start today, I have a question. Are you today where you thought you would be 5 years ago? And if not, you're about to find out why. Because 5 years from now, you're going to arrive. The question is, where will you arrive? Will you wake up having the same bad day, or will you create something amazing for your future over the next 5 years? This podcast episode will show you the number one thing that determines if you'll end up there or not. And so isn't that frustrating though? Like, you have big dreams and big goals and you know you're meant for so much more than mediocrity, but for some reason you find yourself spinning your wheels year after year and you don't know why, and all these trainings you consume seem to work for everyone else. But some days you get super motivated and you crush it, and then other days you can't get off the couch and you have all the tools that you need to change your life, but for some reason in the moment you don't even care. But you care so much at the same time, and you see your laptop staring at you, begging you to change your life. But even if you open up your computer to send those messages, you don't always do it. You scroll Facebook instead, or you get on Instagram, and it's frustrating because you're face to face with mediocrity when you know you're meant for something amazing. I faced the same thing, and it hurt. It sucked. It was always so frustrating. Each year, I set really big goals. I wanted to walk across that stage. I wanted to pay off that student loan debt. I wanted to be able to afford that engagement ring. But every year, the same inner conflicts held me back. I wanted to help a ton of people, but I had inner conflict telling me that I wasn't enough. I wanted to earn a lot of money, but I had inner conflict telling me that money equaled pain. And eventually I just stopped setting goals because I knew that I wasn't going to hit them, so why even try? So I just coasted through life, just barely getting by, and my energy would drop down. And there was always too much month at the end of the money, and all the people that told me I couldn't do it were becoming right. And I felt this calling for more, but I couldn't figure out what was holding me back. And one day, I overdrafted my bank account again, and something clicked in me. I just said, enough is enough. I was so sick of pretending. I was so sick of living in mediocrity. So I went on this mission to figure it out. And it took me quite a few years to figure it out, but I eventually figured out what was stopping me, and it was so much simpler than I ever would have thought. And looking back now, it definitely didn't need to take me half a decade. I'm not here to talk about that today. All that info and the step-by-step process of how I changed my life on a deep emotional level that reversed my limiting beliefs, that can be found in my online course, Appreciation Academy. And by the way, if you type in promo code podcast in all caps, you'll get a 50% discount off that course today. But today, I'm going to summarize one overall concept that overarches all of this. And without this concept, everything that you would learn in Appreciation Academy wouldn't even matter. So I asked that question, are you today where you thought you'd be 5 years ago, for a reason? Because everything that's happened in your life, both what you love and are excited about, and the problems and what you're challenged by, began with a decision. That's what this podcast is about. Today is about the power of decisions. And this podcast is inspired by two of my mentors, Tony Robbins and Brendon Burchard. I learned this information from them, so I do give the credit where credit is due. But one of my favorite quotes of all time from Tony is, "It's in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped." So where you are right now and where you'll end up is all due to your decisions. Think about it. Your relationship you're in right now is a decision. The way you conduct your relationship, the way you conduct yourself in that relationship is a decision. The money you decide to keep or spend is a decision. The job you have is a decision. And those are often the things that you complain about, right? Job, money, spouse, etc. But if you're complaining about anything in your life, anything you complain about, all it means is that you could do something about it, but you're afraid to. That's all complaining means. If you're in a toxic relationship, but you don't change it or end it, but you complain about it, could you do something? Yeah. But you don't want to be alone, so you don't do it. If you're broke, but you don't find a way to increase your income or keep more of your income, and you complain about how you're broke and you always rationalize the excuses about why you can't do things or invest in yourself, could you do something? Yes, you could. But you don't, because the pain of failure in building a big business is bigger. Right? I can go on and on, but the point is that if you complain about anything in your life, it's simply a decision that you've made to not change it. For example, settling for a job that you're in when you don't want to be there is a decision you're making. And you don't do anything about it because you're afraid of losing the benefits or losing the quote unquote guaranteed pay, getting crap from your parents about not being safe, or because these societal norms are telling you not to do this. It's still a decision. In fact, if you don't make a decision about something in your life, you are deciding not to decide. You're already making a decision to let your environment control you and your emotions, and the environment control your emotions instead of taking control of your environment and your emotions. So if you want your life to really change, you need to make new decisions. And I'll show you how to do that in a moment. But first, you need to understand the difference between stating a preference and a real decision. Most people don't make decisions. They state preferences. I'd like to lose weight is a preference. I'd like to advance in rank in my MLM business is a preference. I'd like to pay off my student loan debt is a preference. It means you're interested in it, but you're not committed to it. Stating preferences is like making a wish. It does nothing for your life. So if you don't set a standard for what you'll accept in your life, you'll slip into a crappy quality of life that's far less than what you deserve. In fact, right now, you are getting the exact benefits in your life as the standards you set for yourself. You are making the exact amount of money you must make and not a penny more. You're in the type of relationship you must be in, and it's not an ounce better than that. Your business is at the level it must be at and not a fraction bigger. It is all based on your standards. So if you want a better life, you must raise your standards. And you might be saying, but Brad, my business is based on other people's decisions. And that might be partially true. But if you have higher standards, what type of action do you take? More inspired or less inspired? What type of people do you invite? Higher quality people that are fully in tune with their personal growth, or people that blame the world for their problems? What type of leadership do you instill? Visionary leadership, or like you try to drag everyone with you? It changes everything. So you don't need to know how to do it. But when you truly make a decision to do something, the how will reveal itself. Always remember that. You don't need to know how. If you know what you want, why you want it, and you've decided to do it, the how will reveal itself. It will. But everything changes in your life when you raise your standards. So, and this, by the way, this is how I 10x'd my income. I raised my standards for what I would demand for myself. For example, if let's say getting good at speaking. A lot of people will say, Brad, you're a good speaker, and I'm grateful they say that. That's amazing. But it didn't start that way. Like when I started, I forgot my own name when I would talk, right? So what I did was, over the course of a year, if I were to give one talk a week over the course of a year, that's 52 talks, really good experience. But what I started doing is I started doing 2 or 3 talks a night. So over the course of, over the course of a month, I got a year's worth of experience. So over the course of a year, I got 12 years of speaking experience. So it's like I got a PhD in speaking, and more than that, like 4 PhDs in speaking from just practicing. So all I did was decide to raise my standards, and now I can talk without a script and anything, just talk someone's ear off about these concepts, but it didn't start there. I raised my standards and I figured it out. So you need to decide to raise your standards, because the how will reveal itself. Your decisions are the source of either insane amounts of power in your life, and they are the source of the problems in your life. Most people think that deciding is signing up to try until things get hard. But no, that is not a decision. A decision is cutting off any other possibility. Stop stating preferences and start making decisions. Like seriously, what could you do with your life if you decided to? And here's the thing. You probably know this concept logically, right? Like it's not some new, far-fetched, crazy, new scientific discovery that your decisions shape your future. You know this logically. You know you need to raise your standards. You know all these personal development concepts. And that's my job as a coach, to remind you of some things you already know and to bring some new ways of thinking into your life. And the truth is, it doesn't matter what you know. It doesn't matter if you know something. Information is only power if it's acted upon. Knowledge is not power. You can be the smartest person in the world, but if you don't do anything with it, it's nothing. Knowledge is not power. It's only potential power. So how do you know if you've made a real decision? It's very, very simple. If you've made a real decision, action flows from it. That's how you know if you've made a real decision. Action flows from it. If consistent action flows from a decision you've made, that's how you know it's a decision instead of a wish. In fact, what I also learned from Tony Robbins is that, and this is how you can start to shape your decisions, is that every single second You are making 3 decisions that determine where your life ends up. We're all making these decisions on a subconscious level on a second-to-second basis, but if you take these from a subconscious level to a conscious level and you intentionally change them, the game changes forever. This is what I did with my life. The first decision you are making on a second-to-second basis is what you focus on. That's the first decision you're making on a second-to-second basis. Are you focusing on the problem or the solution? Are you focusing on why it sucks or why it could be great? Are you focusing on the pain or the gift? Do you focus on the struggle or the gratitude? That's the first decision you are making. The second decision you're making on a second-to-second basis is deciding what something means. Life is made up of events and the meaning you give to each event. For example, if a man opens a door for a woman and she's really, really excited, why is that? Is it because he opened the door? Or was it her interpretation of what that gesture meant to her? It was the meaning she gave it, right? Because he could have opened the door and she could be pissed thinking, I get it myself, you pig, I don't need you. The event doesn't change. Her meaning changes. So you can elevate this to the challenges you're facing in your life right now. If your business is failing, do you make it mean that someone like you just can't be successful? Or do you make it mean that you're learning wonderful skills and you're getting feedback so you can create a successful business? The event doesn't change, but both of those meanings have a completely different course of action that flow from it, right? And there are countless meanings. You get to decide what the meaning is. That's up to you. Life changes the second that you put intentionality behind the meaning of everything, even the pain of your past, which is a whole other topic. If you put positive intentionality behind the meaning of that, your life changes forever. So you start thanking yourself instead of thanking your past instead of blaming your past. Everything changes. So if you change the meaning of what you're facing, you change your entire life. And the third decision that you're making on a second-to-second basis is what action you are going to take. If your focus goes to how this sucks for you and the meaning, so that's the first decision, how this sucks for you. And the second decision, the meaning, goes to someone like me just can't be successful. What type of action will you decide to take from there? Lots or little? Little. Courageous or weak? Weak. But change this up, if the focus goes to this is great and I'm learning so much, and the meaning goes to this problem is a beautiful gift and I'm learning so much from it, what type of action will flow from it? A lot of action or a little? A lot. Courageous action or weak action? Courageous. And both of those two paths will make you end up in a completely different part of life, right? If you take that courageous action, you're going to get better results. That's going to build your confidence. It's going to build your belief. That's going to allow you to take more action. But the other one goes down a negative spiral, doesn't it? So how you answer those 3 questions on a second-to-second basis determine where your life ends up. And we do this subconsciously either way, whether you decide to take control of this or if you just decide to decide to not decide, right? You're still deciding something. We do it subconsciously either way. But if you start to decide to make this conscious and put intentionality behind it, life changes very, very quickly. In fact, if someone has more success than you in any area of life, it literally just means they're making these decisions differently than you. That's it. So all you have to do to succeed the same way is to role model them. Ask them for their beliefs. What did they believe about success? See what they do. Watch their optimism instead of pessimism or realism. Notice their focus. Is it on the problem or the solution? Talk to them, interview them, and then role model them, and you will have similar results. That's why my life changed. I started role modeling people that had what I wanted. I stopped accepting constructive criticism from people that didn't have what I want. I started only listening to people who have done what I want to achieve. And that includes people close to me. Like, you wouldn't accept financial advice from your broke parents, right? You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't accept business advice from someone working in the corporate world, would you? It doesn't make sense. But a lot of times you'll get constructive criticism from those people. And that's okay because they love you, they want to help you. But here's my advice, especially if that person is toxic in your life, don't accept constructive criticism from someone that's never constructed anything. It doesn't make sense, right? So if you role model those that have what you want, you can have success very, very quickly. They're just making decisions differently. In fact, You'll learn from these successful people that they used to make decisions very similarly to you probably if you're not at that level of success yet. If someone's more successful, it probably means that they've learned more, which means they probably just failed more. So success, I forgot where I heard this quote, but it's an amazing quote. Success is a result of good judgment. Good judgment is a result of experience, and experience is usually a result of bad judgment. So if someone is more successful, they've probably just failed more, learning more things, and chosen a new focus, a new meaning, a new action to change what it meant so they get better results in the future. You can shrink decades into days by listening to how they make decisions now that they have success. So how long will it take you to be successful? As long as you want it to take. As long as you want it to take. You get to decide that. If you role model these people that have what you want and you make decisions similarly to them, then you'll have what you want. And if you make similar decisions more regularly than they do, you'll have success faster, right? That was the same example I gave with speaking. 1 time a week for 52 weeks would be a great year of experience. 8 to 10 talks a week for a year is over a decade of experience, right? So how long it will take you to be successful is as long as you want it to take. You just have to make these decisions more frequently, and you get really good at making decisions by making more of them. It's the same way you build confidence. It's a muscle. And one of the best ways to do this is by practicing it in your day-to-day life. For example, if you have a movie that you're watching with your spouse, and you say, I don't know, I'll watch whatever you want to watch, you're not making a decision. But I challenge you to start stating your actual preference. I don't want to watch that, I do want to watch that. If you're getting takeout, say what you actually want for a takeout. It can start simple, right? That's what you got to do. And then just make more decisions because you know what you value. In fact, successful people make decisions very, very quickly because they know their values and they know what will bring them closer to their biggest goals. So they make decisions very, very quickly and they hardly ever change their mind. Unsuccessful people take forever to make a decision and they change their mind very, very frequently because they don't know what they truly value. So if you truly know what you value, you know what you want, you know what you're after, why you want it, and you decide to do it, and you make decisions along the way that get you there faster, success can take you as long as you want it to take. You just need to make more of these decisions more quickly. And if you're making similar decisions and nothing, like if you're making these positive decisions that these role models have been making and nothing is still happening, it's because you need to resolve your inner conflicts. You need to let go of resentment. You need to reverse your limiting beliefs. You need to change your environment. You need to learn how to be happy first before success will ever come to you. This is why those trainings work for everyone else besides you. This is why, I'm not saying that's you, just hypothetically. This is why all those strategies work for that new person that just signed up and they're already to diamond rank and it's only day 2, right? This is why. Right? We have inner conflicts. And that's what I teach you how to resolve in Appreciation Academy. Again, if that program is a good fit for you, you can find that at appreciationacademy.com. Just use the promo code podcast in all caps for a 50% discount on the payment plan or the full pay option if that's what you're interested in. But you need to resolve those inner conflicts if you ever want to see the success in your life. If you're making these decisions but nothing's happening, there's a reason. But either way, please understand that nothing in your life is a denial. Meaning, if you go after something and it's not happening, it's not denying that it's ever going to happen. Nothing's a denial. It's not that you have it worse off than others. It's not that you're not destined for success and other people are. It's being in that state of learned helplessness is a decision. It just means that you need to make decisions a little bit differently and resolve the inner conflicts holding you back. That is it. You can achieve anything you want to achieve, and that's a cliche for a reason because the people that are crazy enough to actually believe it are the ones that achieve it. But it all stems from your decision. So if you change the focus, change the meaning, and change your action, life will be very, very different. Role model those that have what you want, not the people that have no clue how to achieve what you want. Your decisions shape your entire future. So make smart ones. Use this stuff, my friend. This inspiration from this podcast means nothing unless you decide, literally decide, to use it. Remember, knowledge is not power, it is potential power, so use it. So today, your action step is to pick one thing you need to decide on and make that decision today. What's a single decision that you know you need to make but you've been putting it off? Where does your focus need to go? What meaning do you need to give to it? What action do you need to take? It is a real decision if action stems from it. So thank you so much for tuning into the Path to Mindset Mastery. My name is Brad Bizjack. Make sure you screenshot this, share it on your Instagram stories, share it with your friends, share it with your team. Their lives will change from the content of this podcast. So thank you so much for being here today and for tuning in. Go out there today and every day and live your life with a genuine smile on your face because you can. I'll see you next week.